So let me just confirm that we are live on all the platforms. Okay. All right. So we are live. So I want to apologize to everyone listening to us for the delay in starting this. And I believe that we're going to have a very great time. And our guest is already here with us. And he'll be taking us through this journey, this discussion on the psychology of the boy child as a foundation for raising responsible men. Our guest today is a psychologist, particularly a child psychologist. So he's very experienced and vast in this discussion, and he'll be guiding us. We'll be asking questions, taking questions from YouTube and Twitter. So whenever we have questions along the line, we inform our guests so that we can take questions along the line. Is that okay, sir?
Yes, that's fine.
All right. So this psychology of the boy child, I want you to talk to us about this issue because from the time I got this idea of speaking to the male children, there's still an increase in the number of vices, crime rates, and including rape is increasing by the number. And what is actually going on? What can we do, and what do we need to start doing at this time?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Philip, for this invitation. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts this evening again. Uh, well, I decided to choose this topic, the psychology of the boy child, which has to do with a foundation, which is a foundation for building responsible men. And the reason is because a lot of attention is focused on the girl child. It tends to focus so much on the girl child. A lot of, you know, campaign going on, a lot of movement, on the girl child, and women empowerment. A lot of people are doing so many things, are pushing for how we can empower and develop, the girl child, can empower and develop women. We also need to understand that there need to be a balance because when there is a gap in our approach, it will definitely create another missing link in trying to find solution to one, we expose another and create a bigger problem in the society. But basically, the concept of the psychology of the boy child is just to look at how the boy child is raised, how they are conditioned and programmed to think in a certain way, to look at their behavior, their thinking, their thoughts, and even their social engagement, to be able to look at all of these, from an perspective and see how we can be able to provide better solutions on the boy child can begin to raise the boy child. Because when we talk about the issue of rape in society, sexual abuse, domestic violence, we realize that most of these are perpetrated by the male or the men, you know. So is there something with the upbringing? Is there is missing link why the boy was growing up? Because like I said, or like I always say that the boyhood is the foundation for manhood, So that foundation, was there something that was not really put in place? Was there a missing link? Is there a way that our culture, our environment has programmed the boy child to think and behave in a certain way that is making them to begin to abuse the other gender, in their adulthood, even while they are still, a child or a boy? Is there something that's making them to abuse the other gender? So these are some of the things we might likely, be looking at, today. So basically, the concept of the psychology of the boy child is just to look at how the boy child think, how the child has been culturally programmed, to be able to behave in a certain way. Yeah, basically that's a focus.
Okay. And so now, I because we are talking to people across different cultures, and different. Is there something that in your experience, that is general in terms of the way boy children are being raised, that you have seen across different races, different culture that is universal, that you know about in terms of your experience over time, that you because people will say the way the boy child is raising in a particular part of the world is different. But what is there any universal thoughts about how boy children are being raised that you have been able to identify over time?
Yes, for me, basically, in terms of the masculinity concept of how the physicality of the child, you know, they tend to look at, oh, the way the man or the boy child is built makes him to be tough, you know. So as a result of that, which they also apply to their emotions. So you see the boy child allow the physicality, physique, body, you understand? Because they feel that the guy is built to be tough. So they also to be tough in terms of how they express their emotion. I think that's one thing I've seen, not just only in Africa, but it's on other culture to see that you see the boy child tends to or should be tough, you know, and this also is transferred in terms of how they express their emotion. You see a lot of them, they don't want to, when it comes to expressing their emotion, they don't want to do it because we told them that, oh, you need to man up. We've used word like you need to man up, boys don't cry, you know, statement like that has makes a lot of them not to be able to express themselves or to express their emotions. And that's one aspect which you see has made them to bottle up their emotion, even when they want to express themselves. They don't just want to do it because they don't want to be seen as being weak, you know, because that's the mindset we've also passed across to make them see that when they cry or they express their emotion, they will be seen as being weak, you know. So it's something again that we really need to pay attention to. And even in some, also in terms of their finding their career path, we've also been able to make them see, oh, that there is gender roles. So we want them to be able to, when it comes to certain tasks or certain career, we don't want them to be able to do it. For instance, even when the boy child doesn't like sports, we want to force them to play and to be involved in sports because that activity is meant for the boy child. You know? So we need to begin to also look at all of these and see certain things that we have created. So for me, those two aspects is something that I've seen that goes across culture. Necessarily not all culture, basically at least most culture that I've studied, you'll be able to see that these are cut across those cultures.
Okay, so what will you talk to us about the link between the way the boy child thinks and raising responsible men? You mentioned
Okay.
earlier that there's been a focus over time about, and I think I've discussed that with you before. I've gone to so many meetings. I was in a meeting where they were even in a religious circle, and they were having a meeting among parents. And throughout the meeting, they were only talking about the girl child. And like, oh, is the girl child that's going to bring shame to the family? Is the girl child that's going to go out there and get pregnant and all of those things and everything? So now, even among in the society, religious circles, and everywhere, how do we change and correct the orientation that every child, whether boy or girl, should be properly trained, to be disciplined, to be responsible? Where do we begin from?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we need to first, the first thing I want to say concerning this is for us to be able to understand that everything the boy child experience, you know, growing up does not disappear during the childhood stage. It's very important we understand that every experience the boy child had growing up does not disappear during the childhood stage. In most cases, according to Sigmund Freud, it moves into their subconsciousness, you know, and they begin to act it in their adulthood when they become a man. You understand? Or when they become men, they begin to act it up. So we need to be able to understand that because I want to clarify that. Also, I've come to also understand based on research that most of the things that we ascribe to the boy child are mostly cultural and not biological. So again, we need to also begin to look at that. How have we culturally programmed the boy child to be able to think and behave in certain ways? I'm going to give you some example. You understand? But I want us to be, I just want to establish this. Like I said earlier, that the foundation for manhood is boyhood. Whatever the boy child experience, whatever we teach the boy child, whatever we ascribe when we ascribe certain rules and responsibility to the boy child, it becomes a mindset, it becomes his thinking pattern, and he grows up with it and begin to behave in that particular way. You understand? The child, the way the child behaves in adulthood, he wasn't born with that. It was programmed, to behave in certain way. And we need to begin to also look at that. For instance, when you ask some men today, and you see them behave in certain way, you don't need to begin to you need to begin to ask certain questions. How were they raised? Growing up, how were they raised? These men that you see them behaving in certain way, how were they raised? What likely is the missing link? They've been taught. You understand? So, what cultural value about the boy child that has been passed from one generation to another generation? What thinking mind and what thinking pattern and mindset were passed regarding the boy child was passed from one generation to another generation. So you see that we have taught them to be macho, to display that macho characteristics of the male elders. Like I said earlier on, we've taught them to man up, that when they are crying, we say boys don't cry. So we use words like that boys don't cry, that they need to what? To man up, that boys don't back down. You get? And they say boys are rough and tough. Some people will go to the extent by saying that, the boy or the boy child or the man was made from the dust. You understand? So that they are rough, they are tough, so they need not to back up. They need to stand, and defend themselves. Yes, it's good for you to stand and defend yourself, but we need to be able to look at the contents in which we are saying all this and the message that we are passing. You will hear statements like, oh, the boy child, you are not expected to show your emotion. And even in the Bible, we hear that Jesus wept. Who is the most responsible man we ever have on this earth? Jesus wept. You understand? So if Jesus could show his emotion, why are you raising the boy child not to be able to show his emotion? You understand? Even the scriptures say we have a high priest that cannot be touched by the feelings of our what? Infirmities. You understand? So we have a high priest that feels what we feel. That at times is even that. So they are taught not to show their emotion. They are taught to be vulnerable. I get what I say. So boys' behavior are more cultural, than biological. So there are certain stereotypes. You get. So we have taught that the females means when we talk about females, it means to be subjugated. When you talk about the male, it means you need to be dominant. You get. So they begin to carry that mindset. So the more we keep saying this to the boy child, the more the thinking is being programmed, the behavior is being programmed. This is the pattern. From the psychological point of view, whatever the child hears or sees from the environment, it pays attention to it. And that information goes into the memory of that child. We call it the short-time memory. So that information that goes into the short-time memory, the more the child keep hearing it, he keep meditating on it. We call it maintenance rehearsal. So the more he meditates on it and think about it, it moves into the long-time memory. And as he moves into the long-time memory, the child begins to exhibit and express that behavior, within the society or within the social context. So we need to understand this pattern and how it moves. So what we are saying to that child is very important. So you see that the child is being programmed in terms of the house chore that we give. We say this is for the female. They are the one to sweep the house. They are the one to clean. The boy is not supposed to be in the kitchen. You understand? So he grows up, he becomes an adult, he gets married, and always, every time, he's not always in the kitchen. Even when the wife is doing a 9 to 5 job and she comes home late, he expects the wife to get into the kitchen to do everything, you understand, for him, because he is the man. He has he has described himself as the mini god in the family who has his own throne that people should be coming to serve him, to report to him why he gives the order and the command, because the boy was programmed to think that way. Are you get what I'm trying to say? So it was
Yeah.
also programmed to think that the female child is weak, so I need to dominate in terms of they are weak, they are not powerful, they should be treated anyhow because the boy child was not taught how to treat a female child with respect. So is sexuality as an opportunity to explore. So they keep exploring because they feel and have mindset that the female child is weak. So little wonder you see that we have a lot of rape in our society because of how some people have been programmed to think that they are more powerful than the female child. They are more that they can dominate the female child. And even when they get married, domestic violence is also an increase because they want to show their masculinity, that their physical strength is to be able to dominate. That is the way they have been programmed, that you need to be able to dominate. Have you seen when the boy child is growing up and a female child eats the boy child and the boy child is crying, and the parent will tell the child that you cannot allow a female to touch you? That is an embarrassment. How will you allow a female to beat you? You understand that you are more powerful, you are stronger than the female. So the programming continues. The child begin to think that, oh, I'm stronger than the female. And in terms of stronger than the female, they are not even talking, they are now looking at their strength, physical strength, that is where the area in which I'm stronger. So let me begin to apply my physical strength in that area. So we begin to see all of these. And because of the way the child is programmed, they want to also prove their masculinity. So they want to prove to people that they are strong, that they are tough. You understand? When you begin to teach the boy child to always prove himself, it's an indication that the child has lost touch of his identity. It's a proof of insecurity. Are you going to? Because you don't need to prove that you are a boy. Men seeing you have the characteristics. We know that you are a boy. A boy to prove who he is an indication that he has lost his identity. He's lacking some form of security. So he's trying to do things to validate who he is. But that is not what the boy child. So we need to begin to understand that we don't use the things from the external to begin to validate who the boy child is. Are you going to say the boy child is created in the image of God? The girl child is created in the image of God. In the beginning, God created man in his own image. There was no identity about who is superior or who is inferior. Are you going to say? So that is what we need to begin to teach instead of this gender divide. That we use roles, we use things in the external to begin to create a lot of gender divides. We need to begin to look at how we can help people to begin to understand how this works. So as a culture, another problem is that as a culture, we have undervalued the qualities we ascribe, to the female in men. So something like being caring, being gentle, loving, we ascribe it to the female and not to the men. So you see the boy child, because female that needs to be gentle, why he needs to be aggressive. He doesn't need to be caring, he doesn't need to be nice. Some of them are not thinking in that direction. They just feel that they need to be tough. So all of these has programmed the boy child to think in a certain way. And the thought is what is determining the action that we are seeing in the society. So there is a link between the programming, the thoughts, and the action that we're experiencing in our society.
So we have one question from YouTube. Somebody is asking, how do we begin to infuse this proper? The question is on your screen. I don't know whether you can see it. How do we infuse this proper psychology into schools?
How do we infuse it into schools? So the first thing is that you need to pay attention to the people that you're employing to work in the school. How are their thinking pattern? So you see that teachers spend much time with the student. You understand? So whatever they say in the classroom, it goes beyond the subject that they're teaching. They are also programming the child to think in a certain way. So you also need to understand how your teacher thinking, what their thinking pattern, what are their beliefs, what kind of stereotype do they have regarding the boy child and the girl child. So we need to begin to understand that. And once you understand this first, you now go further to begin to do training. You need to help to change their orientation, because you need to let them understand that every child is equal. Every child is unique. The boy is not superior to the the girl is not superior to the boy. So we need to begin to take away this gender stereotype. The boy can do the cleaning, the girl can do the cleaning. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Yes, we understand that there might be some tough, big work that might require the strength of the man to do it, but that doesn't make the other person inferior. It's all about how you communicate the message, not necessarily the responsibility that you are giving. It's about how you communicate the message. So when you make a lady, the girl child feel that, oh, you cannot watch the car because you are weak, now you are sending the wrong message. So there are two different things saying, oh, let the boy child watch the car, that say, oh, let the boy child watch the car because the girl child cannot do it because she is weak. These are two different messages. So you must be conscious and deliberate and intentional about the message we communicate when we are given responsibility to the boy child and the girl child. So we must orientate the people working in our schools, working in the teachers, the staff, everyone interacting with the children. We must be able to change orientation to be able to see how all that can be done. There is a curriculum we can develop, to be able to teach, train the teachers in this regard.
Yeah, so, because I remember what you're saying, I see that so many people have stories of what their teacher told them in secondary school. It affected them. You are good for nothing. You can't do this, and it stuck with them. See, they grew up. I remember I had an uncle. For instance, I had an uncle that was having multiple sexual partners, and then I engaged with him in a conversation on why he was doing that. He gave a very, very simple but very powerful analogy that could affect orientation. He told me that can I imagine having DSTV at home? And he's watching only one channel all the days of his life. That he needs to change channel and everything. So I just imagine that there are people, because of this, he's older, and because we expect that because he's older, he will understand, he will know better than us, giving us a reason why he's married and he still has so many ladies and everything, because he has equated a woman
to channels.
With channels that he switches every day. And what I'm telling you, sir, is over almost 20 years ago. I have not forgotten that example till today. And I'm married with my own children, but I still remember that conversation. If I didn't have opportunity to be able to relate with other people, to change my information, it could stick with me and it could form the basis of how I'm living my life today. So I know there's some people that the longer you are good for nothing, and it's stuck with them, and they maintain that till they even got married. They were oppressing even their partner forever and ever. So the importance of the words we speak as parents, teachers, in school has a great impact on the way we reason. So how do we? So parents are listening to us. Parents to be are listening to us. So can you just, from a psychological point of view, the importance of what we speak to our children, or a person in position of authority, because we can't just say parents, teachers, lecturers in the university, and all of that. The importance of words that we speak from the position of authority to people coming after us.
Okay. Yeah, when it comes to words, I think words are very, very powerful. The Holy Bible says death and life are in the power of our tongues. And this world was created by words. So words is very, very, very powerful. And we must understand this, that even from a psychological point of view, what a child hears consistently begins to form the thinking pattern of that child. It's very important. So the environment the child grows up in is very key. You can't just leave this you can't just you can't just allow your child to attend any kind of school you want the child to attend. You can't put your child in every religious environment because you feel that, oh, you love this religious environment. You need to also study their junior church or their whatever religious environment is, their children class. You need to be able to study that place, see if the people who are working with them understand this concept. What they say to a child form a picture in the mind of that child. You understand? And that picture begins to affect their emotions. This is the pattern. It comes from the environment. What you say, it forms a picture in their mind, which forms their emotions. And that emotion becomes their own self-affirmation. And that self-affirmation becomes their self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's very key. We must understand this pattern. So when you say to a child that is useless, is good for nothing, now the child begins to interpret that message into different ways, in different areas. That message becomes the child's self-affirmation, because the child keeps telling himself that he's good for nothing, he's useless, he's good for nothing, he's useless. It becomes a self-affirmation. So even when the child has the capacity to do certain things, that word begins to ring in his mind. I am useless. I don't think I can do it. I am good for nothing. I don't think I have the capacity to do it, because the word keep ringing, transform a picture in the mind of the child. It affects his self-esteem. It has affected his self-confidence, and the child beginning to, look at himself or herself that is good for nothing. It has affected the child's self-perception, how he sees himself or herself. It has affected the child's self, and as a result, it's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. So whatever the child does is useless. Everything the child does is useless, because the child see it from that perspective. So it's very important. What you say to parents, in fact, for parents what parents say to their child is a prophecy. In fact, that God himself will honor. Now, I don't want to go deep into that, because I've shared that with you the last time. For teachers, it's very important. I've seen some of us, we can still remember certain statements that teacher made while we were in school. You understand? That sticks to our mind. And you see the challenge is that negative statements stick more and longer than positive statements. So if you don't have the opportunity to be able to orientate yourself, to change your thinking pattern, to see yourself that you are different from what somebody says into your life, that for you to be able to understand who you are, if you don't have the opportunity, it will be very difficult for you to change that mindset. And not everybody will have the opportunity. Thank God you have the opportunity. And one of the things we need to understand, that age is not synonymous to wisdom in most cases. You understand? The fact that somebody is old doesn't mean it's always making sense. So we must understand this. The fact that your uncle made that statement, you understand that how can you be equating channels with women? That's useless statement. You get. But we must understand that age is not always synonymous to wisdom. And the fact that we put our children in certain environment, we must be conscious about what those people who are feeding our children with information, or with information, what they are saying into their life. So it's very key and important, and we cannot play with it. So words are powerful. It can create the destiny of that child if we are not conscious about it. We can't just leave them.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know you still have a lot of, just a digression. You mentioned something, and I want to know whether it's psychological. People have said it over, but I want to know whether it's psychological, or does it finding on the study. You mentioned that negative words stick longer.
Yeah, it's psychological. Research have shown that. Research have shown. Just like bad news. People spread bad news faster than good news. Same thing. Negative words stick longer than positive words.
Wow. Thank you very much. So now I want to continue with the issue of psychology of culture and what we can do to help reduce this, or what we can do. And I want to speak on this boy child issue, and how to raise responsible men in this generation and in the next generation to come. Yes.
So I think it's very important for me. Like, I want us to pay attention to this foundation, because at times we always focus on the challenge we have in our society is that we always want to address issues from the fruit. We always focus on the symptom. We don't do a root analysis of the issues. So we need to begin to drive this narrative and do a root cause analysis of the issues. Now, currently in our society, the program is focused on the girls. You understand? Little things are done about the boy. So we are creating a gap. The more you focus on the girls and you are not empowering the boys, it's these same boys that we grow up and they begin to molest the girl child. You understand? So create a balance to see how we can also begin to help the boy child to begin to think they are thinking. You understand? So, but we can start from our own immediate environment. What you have the responsibility to do for those of you that have the boy child or work with the boy child, or you have the boy child in your classroom as a teacher. So, what do you need to do? There are different things you can do in terms of how you begin to program the child to begin to think differently. First thing, you need to teach the boy child how to treat the other gender with respect. It's very important. Let's start programming them to teach the other gender with respect. And you can even start doing it from your home. When you have a male child, you have the female child, you learn how to teach, you start treating the boy child, you start teaching the boy child how to treat the female child with respect. Let's get rid of this proverb, this certain proverb that we have in our society, these stereotypes, to begin to get rid. That is not adding value and empowering the thinking of the boy child. We need to get rid of those proverbs. Let's get rid of those, traditions that have made the boy child to become more powerful in our society. You understand? That have made them to create that gender divide. We need to begin to collapse that wall that have divided the male and the female, that have positioned the male to be more powerful than the female. So we need to begin to pull that divide. Yeah, even from the way you are raising the child, the dolls that the child play with, the toys, how do we begin to say, oh, this one is not for male, this one is for female? I know some of you might say, oh, you don't want the boy child to always be playing with female. It's not about, like I said, it's not about what they even play with. It is more about how we communicate it, how we program them, how we make them to begin to think that, oh, this one is for female because it looks this way, it looks that way. You understand? So we also need to begin to allow them to show up their emotions, to express themselves. When they are sad, allow them to express the sadness. When they are angry, allow them to express it, but be there to guide them how to express it in a more positive way. Instead of telling them, oh, you are a boy, you are not supposed to be showing your emotions, you are not supposed to express yourself, keep it to you. The point is this: research has shown that the boys who bottle up their emotion are more depressed, they are more involved in suicidal thoughts, and they are involved also in risky behavior. I'm telling you, this is from research. So we need to be able to understand that the moment people bottle up their emotions, it kills them the more. It's like a river that doesn't flow stinks. You understand? So an emotion that is not expressed in a more healthy way, that is what you should be teaching the boy child. How to express their emotion in a more healthy way, instead of using words like boys don't express their emotion, boys don't cry. All those doesn't make sense. Let's start teaching them how to label their emotions. When a boy child is sad, teach the boy child how to label its emotions. You understand? That, okay, this refers to being sad, this is being upset. The more you do that, we call that emotional literacy. So you are teaching the boy child to be able to label his or her emotion, and they are able to express it. You see, and also, when last do you hug a boy child? The more they connect to their deep and inner self. That hug that you give to that boy child can break them and make them gentle, make them caring, or even saying a word like "I love you." You understand? Because they will enter into a society where they want them to be tough, they want them to to be aggressive, to be violent. But that little touch, that hug, that little soft talk that you give to the child is helping the child to see, oh, that in this world I don't need to be violent. I don't need to be aggressive to make my point. I don't need to be violent to prove that I'm a man. Are you getting what I'm saying? That different ways that I can prove that I am a man. The fact that expressing my emotion doesn't make me irresponsible. It's just making me authentic because I have emotions. Are you going to say the fact that I'm expressing my emotion doesn't make me vulnerable? It's just making me real because indeed I have emotion. So we need to begin to show all of this, because you see that we have made statement that, oh, the girls are emotional, the guys are logical. Yes, it's true in terms of how we look at it, but the guys are also emotional. So they have the part of them that express their emotion. So we need to also look at it from that perspective. Let's show them role models that are male and that are very, very caring, that are gentle. They don't have to be aggressive. Teach them how to be assertive instead of being aggressive. Two different things. Assertiveness means that you are able to express yourself, you are able to stand for what is right without being arrogant and rude. You understand? But when you are aggressive, it's when you are being arrogant, you are being rude in trying to express and speak up your mind. So let's teach them assertive. You understand? Instead of being, aggressive. So let's let them know that as a boy child, it's normal to be angry, it's normal to get frustrated. And you can say, but how you manage it is very much important. There's nothing wrong when you get angry, there's nothing wrong when you get frustrated because you are a human being. I can say, so what I'm simply saying is that let's start driving that narrative that they are a human being first before they are first a boy or a girl. It's important. Let's teach them that they are a human being before they are first a boy. When we do that, we create an environment where they are not beginning to, define their identity from the gender divide. You say, oh, this is who I am because I am a boy. This is who I am because I am a girl. That is not actually who you are. You are more than your gender. Your gender is not the total definition of who you are. You are more than who you are is far beyond the fact that you are a boy or the fact that you are a girl. You are created in God's image. You have the capacity to do great things in this world. Let's start when it comes to career path. We don't need to begin to tell them, oh, this career is for me, this one is for me. Which career is for female and which one is for male? You understand? So we need to also begin because that is the programming. You see a lot of female. It's difficult for you to get a lot of female involved in mechanic work or a lot of female male involved in being a nurse. I know that in some countries that is already changing, but you see some countries it's also difficult because when you say you want to go and become a nurse, they look at you, oh, that you are weak. How can you be choosing such profession? You understand? So we need to begin to change all of this narrative. You get that? You see, in Nigeria, how many female will you see that is a bus driver or that does even Uber? Because of this mindset, this programming, what the culture, the environment has programmed us to think a certain way, and it's beginning to affect the things that we do. That the job is so tough, when it's so difficult, it has to be the male. I think we should focus more on their brain. Let's start focusing on that what they have inside there. There's no one is superior. It's just our ability to be able to develop it and do something great with our life. Anybody can become anything he or she wants to become. We need to begin to project that narrative. And once we are building this foundation, what we are doing is that we are raising responsible men. You understand? Raising men is not when they have become a man. It starts from that childhood. You are setting the foundation. You will not need to stress yourself when you become a man. That is what the Bible says when it says, train up a child in the way he should go, that when he grows old, he will not depart from me. So if the foundation is laid for being responsible, the child grows up and he will be responsible. I can try to say, you have laid the foundation to be able to express himself or herself. You have laid the foundation to be able to treat the other gender. So when the person sees the other gender as a man, he will not want to molest or rape the other gender because he values the person. You can probably say, the fact that you force somebody and rape the person is an indication that you don't have any value for the person. And it's because of how that person has been programmed to the other gender. You understand? Because when we talk about gender-based violence is not about gender, it's about power. You get what I'm trying to say? It's about power. The fact that I have more power than you. It could be physical power, economic power, social power, whichever form of power. The fact that I have more power than you, that is the reason why I want to subdue you. I get what I'm trying to say. So we have taught them to feel that, oh, if you have money as a man, you can get any woman you want. You understand? We've taught them to see that as a man, you can subdue any woman. So you see them involved in physical or domestic violence, they're involved in sexual molestation, in rape, because they want to exert that dominance. The mindset that we are built in them, they have become a man, so they want to exert that dominance. Why do you see that the boy child also raped his own sister? Because of the same mindset that we are built in them, to feel that they are more powerful. So you see, nature back, they will always look for a way to express that thinking pattern that we are built in them. So we need to begin to, the foundation that we lay. Go and do interview for everyone who have been involved in treating the female gender, respectfully. Do a research about them. You realize that something was involved in their programming that was not right.
We have two questions already.
Yeah.
I want us to take two questions. One of the questions is, I don't know whether you can see this question on the screen. Can you see?
Yeah, I can see. I can see one of the major issues the boy child faces is an issue of identity. How do we address that? Now we need to see this. When we get to the point of identity, most of the time, from the developmental perspective, identity is beginning to get formed. First, let me say this. When they get to that teenage years, one of the fundamental questions every teenager, and I repeat, every teenager is asking is who I am. That is a fundamental question. The moment your child is beginning to enter 11, 12 years, that question of who I am is making them to involve in risky behavior. It is that question of identity that is making the teen explore and experiment. So they want to experiment with different things, with drugs, with alcohol, with women, involved in different risky behavior. And that question of identity is because also they are also beginning to form association, their peers. So they are having identity among their peers, and at that age, they listen a lot to their peers. So it's a crave for identity that you see a lot of teenagers involved in a lot of things. That is the age you see them begin to follow popular culture and trend. They want to dress like Davido today. They want to talk like Whiskey tomorrow. You see them a lot on Instagram, on Facebook, because it's a crave for identity, the desire to follow the popular trend. They want to cut their hair like Ronaldinho and talk like Two-Face or sing like Two-Face. It's a crave for identity. So it's normal. It's part of the developmental stage. However, how can you help them to be able to address it so that they can develop a more positive identity? And that is why you see them begin also, they are confused about their choice of career. Today they choose, today they want to become an engineer. Tomorrow they want to become a medical doctor. That confusion is always there. But the first thing you can do is that first, you listen to them. Because at that age, teenagers are not moved by control. They are moved by relationship. You must develop a relationship with them and be close to them so that you listen to what they say and what they are not saying and help them to be able to make the right choice. So the first thing is that be close to them. And as you are close to them, you begin to build relationship. Expose them to positive role models. That age, they are influenced a lot by role models. That is why I see a lot of them follow celebrities. They are involved and influenced a lot by role models. But you can expose them to more positive role models and show them positive role models, people that can influence their life positively, the great work that they are doing. And now they can follow that path. Are you getting what I say? And begin to, when today they say they want to be an engineer, tomorrow they say they want to be a medical doctor. It's a stage. There are 4 levels of identity they will pass through. The first one is identity diffusion. We don't have time to talk about that. The second one is identity foreclosure. The third one is identity moratorium. And the fifth one is identity achieved. Or the fourth one is identity achieved. Before they get to identity achieved, they will pass through identity moratorium and identity foreclosure. That identity foreclosure is when they are exploring kind of identity. Today I want to be this, tomorrow I want to be this, but they have not made any commitment. But then we get to the point where they make commitment that is based on exploration or any form of discovery, and that is identity foreclosure. But identity moratorium is when they are just making different choices. But after a period of time, as we begin to guide them in terms of their choice, they will now get to the point where they decide what they want to become. We call that identity achieved. So we must understand that it's a process. Take time, listen to them. They listen a lot to their friends. So you must also know what their friends are telling them. You understand? That is influencing them. That is why you see at that age they are moved by peer pressure, because their friends talk to them a lot and they are influenced by what their friends say to them. But how you can help them to be able to identify their identity is to first, don't control them. Allow them to explore. While you begin to guide them, they will find their identity in a way that you are when you begin to guide them to be able to find their identity. But once you begin to put more pressure on them, you see them begin to involve in different things because they want to try, they want to exploit, they want to experiment. That is the aim. It is the drive, the yearning for identity that is making them to explore and want to do so many things. You get, but you must create an environment, expose them to positive role models, and begin to allow them to find their career path. And there is a way also you can begin to do that. Like I discussed with Philip, there's a scientific way you can help people to find their career path.
Yes,
in this process.
I was going to go there, but I wanted us to talk before getting to that part.
Yeah.
Because people need to know that things are not as a lot of people are working. People are working and doing a lot of research. And one of the things that we hope to achieve with this to help even parents. To be honest, there are many parents that are also they are under serious pressure right now. They are even also, permit me to use the word, confused and disorientated because they've spent a lot of money, spent a lot of time, they've done some of the things you mentioned, like listening to them. And then even some parents have what we call elastic limits. When you talk about different identity foreclosure, and all the experiment they've allowed, they spend so much money, and it's as if there's still no improvements, there's still no progress. And then one of the things that our guest does as a child psychologist is what we term out. They help people to be able to identify their strengths and areas they won't even spend so much time wasting if they can endeavor to get some of these tools that have been made available. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. I'll also give you the information of the child psychologist, where we can use scientific methods and tools to be able to use the personality of the child to identify the area of strength. So parents that are listening to us, you can send message to me, you can reach out to me. I will be able to connect you with the child psychologist on how to go about this. If you're a child or you're a parent listening to us and you have been struggling to be able to, you have done 3 programs in 5 years, 3 courses in 5 years, and there's no headway, you don't need to continue to stay on that same spot. There are scientific methods and tools to identify your program of study and area of strength. We'll discuss that as we go along the line. Can we take the second question?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody said a girl was playing with toy cars. Yeah, and the teacher used that opportunity to tell the girl that it is okay not to feel like a girl. The LGBTQ issue. How do we balance that as a parent?
The teacher used the opportunity to tell what? I didn't hear that part.
To tell the girl that was playing with toy cars.
Toy.
Toy cars. You know, we believe that it's the boys that should be playing with toy cars. So the teacher now told the girl that it's okay for you not to feel like a girl. How do we balance that?
It's okay for you not to feel like a girl.
Like a girl, so you can play with toy cars that is stamped for that. It is boys that usually use toy cars.
Oh, okay. I think the issue of is I don't know what the teacher meant when he's trying to tell the child that it's okay not to feel like a girl. Yes, the truth is that a girl is a girl. You must be able to make the child understand that he's a girl, you understand, and he has the characteristics of a girl, and need to be able to tell the boy that he also has the characteristics of a boy. There is no other gender, no other form of gender. We have the boy and the girl. You know, but where the problem is, like I said, is in terms of our communication, not even in the responsibility in itself or in the tasks that they do. There's nothing wrong if a girl is playing with a toy card. Are you getting what I'm saying? But the message you communicate, it is what it really matters. To be able to see, that, for instance, if you say that it's okay for you not to feel like a girl, I don't understand what that means. But like I said, we need to be sure of the message that man is trying to pass. Because if it's a girl, she's a girl and she will feel the way she needs to feel, you get. But for you to begin to say it's okay not to feel like a girl when somebody's a girl, I don't really understand the message the
Yeah,
person is trying.
the person is trying to say, okay, in the mindset already, okay, girls are supposed to play with certain tools
Okay.
or certain things, maybe like a doll or something, while the guy are the ones that are supposed to be playing with toy cars. Is
Oh, okay.
masculine. It's masculine.
Oh,
So
okay.
when the girl is playing with toy cars, supposedly designed for boys. So maybe the girl is feeling awkward. In a bid to make the girl feel comfortable, okay, even though these things are made for the boys, it's okay for you not to feel that way. And that's the beginning of all this
Yeah.
LGBTQ.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that is what results to LGBTQ. You get. I feel that if a child is playing with a toy that the society, remember, is the society that defined it to say this particular toy is meant for girl and this particular toy is meant for boy. It's the society that defines it that way, and we conform to what the society has, has made us to conform into. So that statement is okay not to feel like, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong in it, but we must also just create a balance so that nothing become excessive. You understand? We must create a balance to ensure that the girl child that is playing with the toy car, there's nothing wrong if you play with the toy car. But how do you communicate? Like I said, it's all about programming. And programming in most cases come through words and through what we make them feel in the environment. The communication at that point when the child is playing with that is what is even more important than what the child is playing with. So we to understand and first make them, once we build a foundation and make them feel secure with them, with their identity and with their gender, it's very important. That should be our focus. We'll build a foundation that make them feel secure with their identity and gender. Whatever they play with at that point is not even the real issue. I can probably say it's how we have made them feel secure in who they are. You are a girl, you are a boy, you are not inferior. You can do great things with your life. You can become whatever you put your heart that you want to become with the help of God. You understand? So once we begin to pass such message, instead of using what they do to define who they are, that is where the problem really is. To use the external to define their identity. It is not what they do that make them who they are. They have not done anything. Even if they have not done anything, they are still who they are. For instance, your child is still your child, even if your child have not done anything or have not achieved anything. Your child is still your child. Even before Jesus started anything, God said, "This is my beloved son, in whom I well pleased." He have not done any major work, he have not done any miracles, but God was secure and God was affirming his identity to make the child secured in his own identity. So it's very important so that we don't begin to use things that are external to define who a child is, and who is more powerful, who is more superior, who is more who have more strength. So that we don't begin to use the external, and which is the major problem we found in our society, using what we have in our environment to define who a child is. Identity is very important, which also is bringing me back to the question that the first person asked, you understand, about identity, that we must not use what is in our environment to define who our identity is. I don't have time. I will have also connect psychology to the Bible for us to be able to see how even Jesus himself was secure in his own identity. When he was asked to turn stone to bread, he refused because he said, "I don't need to turn stone to bread to prove that I am the Son of God." Remember, that was the condition, that if you are the Son of God, look at the condition, turn stone to bread. Turn stone to bread. He said, "I don't need to turn stone to bread to prove who I am. Before I came to the wilderness, my father already told me that this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased." You understand? So I'm already secure in that statement. Turning stone to bread to prove that I am the Son of God is an indication that I am not. You can say, because for you to prove who you already are is an indication that you are doubting who you are as a person. So we need to begin to drive this narrative to stop allowing our children to start proving who they are. I want to prove that I am a man. That is why I have to show strength. I have to be dominant. That is not what makes you a man or a boy. You understand? This is who you are. You are meant for greatness. Let them be secure in their identity. and it will really help them.
Yes, sir. I don't want us to miss. You are taking us through certain steps on the issue of how to begin to change orientation. You mentioned one very great thing that is going to affect a lot of things. Because you mentioned the issue of the society. That one is very, very deep. The society has a lot of impact, power. Even the way our adverts are being run, it shows. You imagine we have had that issue of they are trying to sell us like a toothpaste. They have to use a lady that's half naked to drive the message. There's no correlation between the lady that's dancing and the toothpaste, but it drives the way people think. It goes into our subconscious, it forms our image in our thoughts, and we begin to respond based on what we have seen. So now, how do we? You mentioned the impact of parents, because God already told Jesus who he was. So anything anybody told him afterwards came late, because his father already told him that you are the son of God. So he doesn't need to, whether he sits down, whether he stands up, whether he eats, he's sleeping, he's still the son of God. He doesn't need to do anything. So that means from the parent point of view, parents must, of necessity, tell their children who they are. Identity.
Yes, consistently. They have to keep saying it consistently. That's the power of affirmation. The more they say it, it becomes the child's self-affirmation. So the child keeps saying it. Imagine a parent telling the child every day, you are great, you are powerful, you are going to do exploit on this earth. Your generation will serve you will stand before kings. You know, he keeps saying this word, saying it into the child life consistently. Is forming the child perception, is forming the child's self-image. Whatever the society throws at the child will be able to withstand, because he has changed the entirety of who the child is as a person. You understand? Because this thing begins from within, then without. The reason is when you say in psychology, people are stressed, you understand, and they experience breakdown. It simply means that they have not developed their internal capacity to withstand resources or external challenges that are coming to them. So the external challenges overwhelm their inability to manage those things. So when they are overwhelmed, we say they are stressed. So, but when you keep saying this to a child, it's become the child's self-affirmation, and that becomes the child's reality. So it's first within, then without.
So you are taking us through the steps of, you mentioned the first step you mentioned is teaching our young men to treat the other gender with respect. Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. So you were taking
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I want you to take us through the step. The number one, because that one is very important. If people treat every gender with respect, it will reduce certain vices automatically without any struggle. That you respect this person, you see every girl you come in contact with as the creation of God. This is somebody of dignity. You have that mindset. You never think of cheating the person. You never think of and you mentioned something that I just learned now. Sometimes people think violence must be communicated with force. Sometimes violence doesn't have to be communicated with force. It can be communicated by your position.
Yes.
Position of authority that you occupy. And that's what you also mentioned about the issue of rape. People can use their position to rape a person, not by force, not violence.
No, it's power. It's power. So the power can be economic power. It can be social status. You understand? The fact that I'm your superior at work. You get, I don't need to be able to force you, to rape you. I just have to, because rape is not until you force. When the person did not give consent, you have already raped the person. But I can use my position of authority to influence you, you understand, to be able to give in to sexual act that didn't really come from your mind without your consent. But because I have used the social power or the economic power. I can send money into your account because I know that you are stranded, you're looking for money to pay your house rent, and I send 1 million into your account, and that I begin to seek for favor, sexual favor, you get from you. That on its own, that something you will not do naturally. So you give into it because of the economic power. So sexual gender-based violence is more of power and not gender. That's what I'm trying to drive at. That it is of the power and not the gender. And it can be the other way around. Even a female boss, you understand, can molest a male subordinate using the power, that she has to be able to do that. So it's not about gender. It's about power.
Yes. So that's the first one you mentioned. What are the other things that you think we can do?
Yeah,
If
I
we
talked
begin to,
about treat the female gender with respect because that will help in the foundation. It helps to build the foundation of how you relate with the female. Do you know there are a lot of men that don't even value female in our society? You get you see that they won't expect female to submit to them because they say the Bible says submit. But and if you look, the Bible says the what is the word submit? The word submit is not to subjugate. I get what I'm trying to say. To begin, and even before that place where you say, wife, submit to your own husband, he says, submit yourself to one another. I get what I'm trying to say. So it's not just the female submitting to the male. It says, submit yourself to one another. So we need to also begin to look at that. And you see a gate man, or you see somebody that is just a line manager, expecting that the female should be able to submit to him because the Bible says that he or she should submit. All these things doesn't make sense. So the way the gate man, the way the male at work treat the other gender, they don't even value them. You understand? So all of this, we need to begin to change this narrative. To begin to see, you see, when you see a female that has money, is very wealthy, the society begin to say, oh, this one, if she's single, they'll say, oh, it will be difficult for her to see husband. All this kind of mindset. And the male becomes intimidated. The females, they don't want to express themselves because they don't want to be seen in the society. So people begin to hide, they begin to pretend. They are not authentic, they are not real because of what the society is going to think about them. So I said we should start teaching people how to treat we should start teaching the boy child how to treat the female child. We should allow them to find their own career path. Let them explore. You don't have to begin to define the career that is made for the female and the one that is made for the male. Let them explore their career. Whatever they love and passionate about, let them go into it. A male, we've seen male, we've seen a lot of male who do hairdressing. You understand? So we don't have to begin to this gender divide is causing a lot of problems that is making the female to begin to see themselves as more female, and that is why you see their things. So the masculinity, their physicality to be able to because of the way they to change their thinking so that they are upbringing. And that is why I say the foundation must raise responsible men. Let's address this thing from the roots. Let's do a loss analysis. Enough of trying to change the men. The men is already formed. Thinking is already formed. Their behavior is already formed. Whatever you are doing at that level is damage of being a boy. You can program them, condition them, destroy. What can we do as a society?
so you mentioned something. I don't know where we came about some of these things because I did a research. They say women are meant for the kitchen and all of that. But I looked around in some of the best chefs around the world.
Yeah.
They are men.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah.
So how did we form this image to think the women
And we
are
get to
extremely
hotel, we see this men, they serve us food. You
Having a bit of network issue.
This man, they serve us, good food, but you the same man that will serve you food and you will eat.
Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I apologize, there's a bit of network issue going on. We'll try to see so I can wrap this up as quickly as possible. All right. All right. We're getting really, really enjoying this time. So I'm waiting for our guests to join us back, and then we can move forward with this so we can round up as quickly as possible. It's been a very enlightening time, getting a lot of great, great information for us that we can use for raising responsible men. We have to go back to the foundation. We have to begin to teach our young men to begin to treat the female gender with respect. We have to begin to teach them. Okay, our guest is joining us back. Okay. Just give me a moment. All right, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's a bit of network issue there.
Yeah.
So we have taken 2 points from you about treating the female gender with respect, and also we should stop trying to separate what a man can do, what a woman can do. Whatever a man or the woman is interested in doing, we encourage them, we try to support them and try to guide them and not try to separate. And then you were trying to make an analogy of when we go to hotels and we see the people that take care of us in hotels are all the male gender, and they do it excellently.
Yeah. Yeah. When we get to hotel, the male gender serve us, they serve us, they give us food to eat, they cook the food that the male, but when they come to their house, they sit like on their throne as the god of the house, let the female run around. But at home, how can I be in the kitchen with my wife, the guy in the house?
Okay,
So
so
it's making us not to value the female because it's also some form of wickedness. Like I explained earlier on, imagine a woman that morning till night, you understand, providing food for the family. Even you as a man, you are not even working, you are not bringing anything, and even the little you are bringing, self, the woman will come. You still expect her to go to the kitchen, cook, prepare your food, and you have been at home. You understand? It's different for you if you also went to work and you have been at home since morning. You want her to enter the kitchen and prepare your food. You eat as the god of the house. You now come in the night. You still want her to sleep with you, have sex, but it shows some form of some level of wickedness. But they have human compassion. Must have that form of compassion for the other person. So, which, like I said, also boils down to the program.
Yeah. So we
The
still having
program.
some network. Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. So I was just saying, it
Yes,
shows,
I'm following you. I'm following you.
yeah. So when you just allow the woman to always do everything at home, to cook, to clean, it shows some level of insensitivity and disrespect.
Oh my God. So many people
And
will disagree. They'll say, okay, that's the way our parents have been, our grandparents have been, and everything. So why are you teaching us something different from what we are used to?
the fact that your parent has been that like that doesn't mean it's right. You must a generation need to stop something. And when generation need to stop something, it's not in terms of causes. Because you say, oh, there is a cause that have been in your generation and you want to break that cause. In terms of breaking causes, break this one too. It's a stereotype that needs to be broken, not only.
Yeah.
Satanic cause or spiritual cause that you need to break. And she said that was the way the mother did. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So
Hello?
yes, I can hear you. That's why the mother did it.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Hello. I can hear you. You're having a great time. The stereotype must be broken. The taking care of the home, domestic chores, everything we do in the home must be done by both partners. Whether you're a man, a woman, going to the kitchen does not reduce your position and authority. So that's one of the things that we are driving here. The stereotype of women must be in the kitchen, and so that must stop. Are you with us, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I think we're having some bit of network challenges right now. All right, so the stereotype of the man, woman, we must change that stereotype